Hey, welcome back to Chris's Comments. It's April 29th, 2022. It's Friday. All right. Now, normally I don't usually do this just before the weekend. I usually try to not to alarm anybody or draw any kind of emotions or anything like that because, well, it's the weekend and I just want everybody to have a safe weekend. But I came across an article last night, and it really drew my attention, and I really got to share it before anybody else does. I want to be original here and everything, and it's word of warning, it's a conspiracy. Okay, it's not really a big one like the Freemasons or Illuminati or any kind of crap like that, but it is a conspiracy. It's something that I can predict happening, that you can predict happening, that we can all predict happening, and we can all see that, it's just, we can see through the bull crap, especially through the good public image that's going to be expressed once this happens, okay, or as it's happening. We people of common sense on common ground, we can see when they're just full of crap, and here's what I'm talking about, okay. On Sunday, it's a little bit of reading, and I do apologize, but I'll try to read it nice and clear for you. On Sunday, April 24th, 2022, Gestapo Gov Abbott touted, Gestapo Greg is my governor, my Lone Star governor, a program to charter bus migrants to D.C. after entering Texas. Currently, he's asking Texans to personally contribute their own money to pay for their trips, and this is true. Initially announcing on April 6th, Abbott presented the trips as a tough-on immigration act of defiance against the Biden administration. Okay, here's what happened. Abbott would get mocked by the Democrats, like, say, Texas Representative Gene Wu, who tweeted, "Congrats to Governor Abbott. Word will be passed from community to community that if you can just get to Texas, the governor will pay your transportation to anywhere in the United States." Okay, and in a way, he's right, especially now with Abbott asking for donations and stuff to pay for the transportation. The Democrats cheered, but they added to Abbott's right politically that it's a misuse of Texas tax-paying dollars that incentivizes migrants to cross into the Lone Star State. And that's true. That's true. For somebody that hates migrants, so to say, that really wants this stuff to stop, he's not really giving them a reason to stay away, especially once they get in and they sign on and they register themselves. That's when they start, there's no reason there's no need to run away or go to Arizona or any other stuff like that, or even sneak across. They could come in willfully, like the way they have been in the past. Okay, now, here's where I'm going to start to show a little bit of concern leading up to what I'm talking about, okay? Okay, from the article, Abbott's office did not respond to multiple questions about the policy, including why the governor is now asking for private donations, if the plan will be partially or solely funded by private donations, and how much has raised to date. How much has been raised to this date? Now, on the state-hosted website accepting funds for the transportation, the current donation tally reads TBD, to be announced, to be determined. As of April 13th, okay, we're on 29th, 16 days has passed, and still TBD, to be determined. That's how much money has been raised to date. Is it solely funded? Is it donation solely funded, private donations, or if it's as to why the governor is doing that anyway? Okay, Abbott's office says at least 10 buses have arrived in the nation's capital, but his office has not provided costs for the trip, nor the total number of migrants who have been transported. Okay? This is a small concern, but it's going to lead to a problem that I've well, not a problem, but a solution that I have always stated concerning politics, politicians, their moves, intentions, and the effects upon it. And it's a very simple quote. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Okay? It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Okay? The politician, the political leader is doing this, he's doing that. You can clearly see he's raking in the dough. But beside of that, and even though if it's the cost of your tax-paying dollars, you believe that he's doing what's best. Okay? Even though it's coming out of your pocket, you believe that he's doing what's best. Okay? It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. All right. Now, during the 30 plus hours bus ride to DC, passengers were provided with meals. Most of the passengers had saved up thousands just to arrive at the border and had little money left by the time they arrived in Texas. Many intended to travel north of Texas anyway. Did you get that last part? Many intended to travel north of Texas anyway. They were on their way anyway. Okay? This is money concerning our tax-paying dollars, and this is also money concerning the honest living wages that the migrants will have to earn. And I state that as sort of a preempted thing here because we're about to get to the stuff that's really, really mattering. Okay. Okay, here we go. This political science professor at Rice University, his name is Mark Jones, not Mike Jones, it's Mark Jones, okay? And he said the governor may be trying to escape blowback with this whole fundraising thing and stuff that's currently being taken out of our tax-paying dollars, okay? To quote Mr. Jones, the political science professor, I think it's a great way of protecting himself from criticism that he's using tax-paying dollars to provide free transport for undocumented immigrants. Many conservatives pounced on him as an all hat and no cattle in that he was talking tough, but in the end, all his busing was going to do was provide free trip for undocumented immigrants to the East Coast that they otherwise would have to pay for, or that liberal nonprofits would have to pay for. And in a way, it's true. AOC is the first person that comes to mind, you know, in raising money to transport undocumented migrants or just, you know, asylum seeker migrants, you know, to DC. And Greg Abbott, the governor here in Texas, is doing it like, haha, I'll show them and I'll tell them that, you know, I'll tell my people that Biden isn't doing his job, you know. So he gets them on buses before anybody like AOC or Sanders or anybody else could do a contributable funding for transportation. Abbott puts them all on buses and sends them off anyway, you know, before anybody could even make a move, and then says, ha, look what I did. I got him out of Texas. Which is kind of dumb, but at the same time, it's understandable. This is Texas. The majority of my fellow statesmen actually believe this crap. Remember, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Now here we go to the part where it is it's pretty scary. Okay? It's pretty concerning. The New York Times also reports it was just one newspaper that got this, that made a note of it. They took the time to make a note of this. As far as I could tell, just this one newspaper. And here's the weird thing. They're hitting it right on the money where I'm talking. They're providing me to hit it right on the Mahoney, right what I'm talking about when I say this quote. The New York Times also reports this week that Abbott's buses are now dropping immigrants off at Georgia, Alabama, and North Carolina. Okay, now this is a pretty serious thing once I read that. All right? Because those 3 states alone, not just here in Texas. Here in Texas, we got plenty of these farmlands, croplands, agricultural lands, agricultural businesses that thrive off of illegal immigrant labor. Okay? So now we got these 3 states also, Georgia, Alabama, and North Carolina. Okay? Migrants are being dropped off over there. Okay? That means we're to expect a lot of migrants being put back into the crop fields again for bullcrap pay, and at the risk of being deported all over again. And here's something to remind you. I'm going to remind you what happened when Obama and Trump were in office. Obama not really doing anything to keep the migrants, Trump making sure that they get deported. Between circa 2015 and 2016, okay, farm workers worked only an average of 33 weeks out of the year. On an average of 192 days out of the year, which is 6 months and change, 44 hours in a 5-day work week. 45 hours in a 5-day work week. So at least they could say they gave them the weekend off. Earning at about $10.60 per hour. Okay? This is what happened when Trump came into office. This is where everybody was at. Which, for the record, $10.60 per hour, with the exception of my state, Texas, where minimum wage was still $7.75. And these guys were working at $7.25, 50 cents less than the minimum wage. Okay, here in Texas. Okay, this is a business or an industry that can profit up to $132 billion per year. Just off of crops and agricultural industry alone. This is a business that can profit up to $132 billion per year. Okay, losing the migrants drew back $30 billion, up to $60 billion, depending on the size of the company or corporation. Okay, out of every year. But still, you take $132 billion and remove $60 billion, and you still got a pretty good chunk of change there. Okay, you still got a pretty good chunk of change for these industries and corporations to still thrive. Plus that's just labor costs. That it doesn't include paying the migrants. Okay, whatever it is that they were paying them, this chump change, they don't have to once they got deported. That's a hell of a lot of money to keep. And back when Trump authorized, I call him Trump, sorry, the Oompa Loompa, authorized the deportations of migrant workers, the farmers banked big in keeping that money. They no longer had to pay. That was supposed to be to the migrant workers. And I think I just said that, but I'm now reading it officially. Now in 2016, President Trump ran on an agricultural platform of tax cuts, regulatory rollbacks, and support for corn ethanol. Everyone in the business claimed Trump's tariffs will be worth it in the long run. And in this oddball sort of way, it did. Yeah, sometime after 2016, when he did these tax cuts and regulatory rollbacks and support for corn ethanol, Okay? When he did that, China, during the trade war in the middle of 2018, I mean, they were buying up to 4% more of the American soybeans, corn, sorghum, and nuts. American soybeans, corn, sorghum, and nuts. Up to 4% more China was buying by 2018, just 2 years later. All right, within a 2-year time span. Plus another part of Trump's scheme was to permit companies to make insurance claims. Okay, hey, we got to make sure that we still profit and all this other stuff. We just got all our workers taken away. Trump authorized every single insurance claim, and we're all familiar with how this works through old Walmart and other department stores and other agencies that would put claims on their workers. One of them being life insurance, to where they'd collect off of their workers' death. You know, so here's these companies, soybean, corn, and sorghum and nuts, you know, making all these insurance claims for the lack of workers that took place when supporting Trump, who had those workers deported. Cha-ching! Huge cost. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Well, what does that have to do with Greg Abbott and his busing? All right. Another part of Abbott's scheme is to get those migrants to the farmlands, is because the farm industries had taken out insurance claims. Okay, yeah, I got that. And the workers were deported. The claims up to rehire. Okay, these claims are made. It's up to rehire and possibly bank this way again in the near future. Okay, with Abbott taking them to Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina. Okay, while more than likely also keeping migrants here in this state. You know it's going to happen. You know. There's another chance for this industry, the agricultural industry, to start banking again with cheap labor, and then possibly another threat of deportation, if not an actual act of deportation, having them come, being sent away, and these industry come in the agricultural industry, these companies in the agricultural industry, keeping their cash. Okay. Now, this director of the Center for the United States and Mexico at Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy, his name is Tony Payan. Now, Tony Payan says, regardless of the motivation, Abbott's bus program will have little overall impact on the issues plaguing migrants at the border. It's a political circus, he says. It's going to have no impact whatsoever on the conditions on the ground. Now, you know, you make that note of criticism. However, it's appearing vital not to ignore it. Okay? The powers that be could actually catch the corrupt in the act and possibly stop this process of what should be called corporate criminal activity. Okay? Corporate criminality is something as awful as what I've just read to you right now. The busing to farmland and agricultural lands to people who are getting paid chump change just to have them deported, and instead of having the workers paid what they were owed, the industry keeps what they have, and then to top it all off, are still profiting off of all the off of the crops and agricultures, like these few industries concerning American soybeans, corn, sorghum, and nuts. Now, those are just 4 different types of agricultural produce, agricultural products that are in the industry. I'm pretty sure there's more. I distinctly remember something like ginseng in the Appalachian areas going through a crisis as well. We here in Texas don't just produce these things. We produce all four of those, but we also produce apples and oranges. We have many of fields like that. Lettuce. We have so many different types of agriculture that we ourselves could actually profit off this, no differently than other companies throughout America who sold to China, a company that Donald Trump himself forbid trade with. He forbade trade with, but he at the same time didn't have a problem having our agricultural business profit up to 4% more times than ordinary times in 2018. Okay, but again, this is all done after ripping off workers, which is something that's illegal, even if they are immigrant. Now, there might be a loophole, but we'll have to find out in the course of time. This is something that we really should just keep a note on. We should really keep in the back of our minds as to how this is working, because what we're looking at right now is something that could only be done in a cinematic feature. Okay, something that could only be done out of some kind of TV thing, and the quirky businessman, oh, how dare you reveal my evil plan, I would have gotten away with it too if it had been for you stupid kids, and blah 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 blah, etc etc etc. But here we are in real time with this real actual possibility of something that falls along the lines of corporate criminality. Okay, it's very interesting to see, because I'm the kind of guy that watches the court hearings where Elizabeth Warren questioned Wells Fargo. How come you're charging so many people all this money and at the same time never reporting the profits and all this other stuff, but at the same time you're filing for bankruptcy and all this other crap, while everybody on Wall Street is banking big. And Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, Citicorp, they're all just like, how dare you ask Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, she's a witch, and all this other crap. It was fun watching those big higher ups sweat. None of them went to jail. Okay, sorry. People at Enron destroyed hundreds of families that were invested in their company. Every single one of those brokers never went to jail, never even paid a fee, walked out with millions, left the courts, didn't even attend the courts, had their attorneys do their shit for them, walked away with hundreds of millions of dollars, destroyed hundreds and thousands of families, hundreds to thousands of families. No, they never, they walked. Wells Fargo, all these banks, they walked. They were mad. They were mad, and how dare you? But they walked. They didn't pay shit. They didn't pay nothing. We the ordinary people didn't see anything, a booster in our infrastructure bills or something for our government to provide in the Free Spending Act. None of that shit took place. Plus, they were getting everything tax-free. There was no wealth tax. Not like now with Biden, who technically still needs to have it passed, for crying out loud. But it's right there at the edge. It's right there at the edge. We have the ability to actually fine these people taxes. Something that's an American duty. Something that we do like it's nothing, like it's nothing now. Now here we are to this, the agricultural industry. The agricultural industry has all of these acts of swindling being done from as far back as Trump, as far back as the 2015-2016 reports. Okay? As far back as that. There's some out in the open swindling being done. And for one, it already has been done concerning the deportation while keeping the profits, and all of these industries profiting through all these different authorizations and loopholes provided by Trump. Okay? provided by Trump, provided by the Treasury, provided by fundings and all this good stuff. Everybody in the administration, all the way down to the agricultural industry. Currently, in 2022, Trump is gone. We now have Biden, and Biden, he gets this laugh right now. He gets to laugh at Gestapo Abbott busing scheme, where he's sending buses to D.C., people that were already scheduled to be there. They were on their way anyway, in accordance to their own testimony. And one side note, in accordance to this current week, Abbott's buses are now dropping migrants off in Georgia, Alabama, and North Carolina. This bus scheme that he's doing, where he's looking like a big fool, has a very ugly reality flip side to this coin. Okay? And it's all about the coin. It's all about money. Belief is the tool. We all believe that Abbott is just this big moron for doing this. But he's getting something out of this. He's banking on the agricultural industry in some form or another. And I'm guessing he got paid to send those migrants over there so that way they could get back to work. And now would be a good time. It's April. It'd be time to do some kind of harvest or plantation or whatever. Planting, you know. Now would be a great time. It's been 4 years. It's been a presidential term. We're now into the next presidential term. And they're accepting these migrants that Greg Abbott, my governor, is busing off of our tax-paying dollars while asking for donations. You know, some could say that, yeah, he's beating the liberals, you know, and all this other stuff. He's trying to undermine the liberals' concern and all this other crap. And in an oddball way, it's sort of true. But on a business level, you know it's true. You know it's true. He's sending them over there to all the other southern states where the farmlands are. Okay? Everybody needs to keep an eye out on this issue, especially through the subject of money and all who stands to gain from it. Okay? We got to keep our eyes open. I sort of chuckled to myself and sort of went bing, bing, bing a little bit for not picking up on this. There had to have been some reason for this. I should have brought this up sometime earlier in 2020 when I first started doing this podcasting. But it was always in the back of my mind, but I had no real way to go. Technically, I had no real way to go to with this until the article. The article is Greg Abbott asks for private donations for the busing transport. That's the title of the article. And there was this one little slip right in here, is one little notation where they're going over to other states, not just D.C. D.C. is the thing that he started out with. He made the big boasting proclamation that he's going to drop them off on President Biden's front lawn, on his porch, to teach him a lesson for not doing his job. You know, those were his words. My dumb governor's words. But it turns out my dumb governor has a very undermining and very scheming mentality. And from time to time, I point these things out in some certain way or form, which still, and I understand a lot of people out there who say, well, what do you want me to do about it? I'm not saying you have to do anything. I am just pointing out what's going on, you know? And in this case, this bus scheming thing, him asking for people to pay donations, my normal reaction is that, well, yeah, because he's too cheap to pay for himself. And two, he's probably getting heat thrown on him for using tax-paying dollars to do this, you know, and that's all that it is. He's trying to look like the good guy and dodging a lot of heat by getting people's donations and saying, look, these are the patriots, we are Americans, and blah, 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 which I'm sure he's going to do. But once this came out, once I saw this one little tidbit, Abbott's buses are now dropping immigrants off in Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina. That one little segment caught my attention, and 2 and 2 became 22. 2 plus 2 makes 4. It all made a lot more sense now, up to 4% more just off of American soybeans, corn, sorghum, and nuts. That's just 4 agricultural ingredients, items, that got bought up to 4% more, with a country that we're supposed to be at odds with a country that we're supposed to be whose trade we're supposed to be rejecting. I mean, come on, dude, that's like an old 1970s swindle movie, cinematic feature, something I can't understand, something that I mean, come on, what do you expect? It's a Scooby-Doo mystery. But yeah, I mean, it is just incredible. Yeah, currently it looks like Abbott's a big fool. But what if he's taken a part of an undermining scheme that we can't see right now, much less what we want to see, should his scheme actually work, which I think it actually will, busting them down to Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina. Would we even want to see? Because it means product on our shelves again, again at the expense of cheap labor, undocumented worker labor, and but it's all open, despite the fact that it's all open, out in the open swindling. Okay, it's all swindle deals. It's all shifted works. It's all just robbing people and shortchanging them and cheating them. And then after they're deported, there's tax cuts and regulatory rollbacks and insurance claims that companies can be made. It's all out in the open swindles. It's swindling out in the open, legally. And it's another thing that skeptics are going to say, hey, that's just business. What am I supposed to do something about it? I'm not saying you got to do something about it, but we do need to make note of this. We do need to make note of this, because this is crookedness. This is schemes that in some form or another is going to trickle down to us. If not legal schemes provided for by our tax-paying dollars. You see what I'm saying? Everyone, keep an eye out on this issue, especially through the subject of money and all who stand to gain for it. Okay? I don't know who these American soybean, American corn, American sorghum, and American nuts companies are. Okay? I don't know that yet. I just got I just read the article last night before going to bed. So I will be looking into it. And I hope you do too. Okay? I'm going to leave a link. I'm going to leave the email address. Share everything you got. Whatever you want. But most importantly, just keep an eye out on this issue. We're looking at out in the open corporate swindlings taking place in the name of business, in the name of America, in the name of God. No differently than what all these other people have been accused of. The Freemasons, the people with the funny hats on their heads. I forgot what they're called. Shriners or something. I don't remember. But But yeah, I mean, you got all these organizations who are being accused of these types of swindlings, gerrymandering, one hand washing the other, all this other crap. Well, guess what? Here on this segment, I'm tackling it on an agricultural, industrial platform. Okay? I'm revealing something here that everybody else is saying, but isn't really saying. And it's obviously because of the simple fact, like, I don't know the company's names, so I can't actually expose these bad guys. There's no mask for me to rip off right now. And so far, only one thing. The New York Times is the only one information source that even noticed Georgia, Atlanta, and North Carolina. Okay? I'm not sure any other newspaper, or not to give away my age, I'm not sure there's any other journalistic media reporting company or network that's even aware of it. All I got here was just one newspaper, New York Times. That's it. So I can't do any, Scooby-Doo face revealing, mask revealing moment right now. I'm just finding this out right now. And I'm not a journalistic reporter. I'm just a driver. I'm a rideshare driver that occasionally reads the news and sees something that pieces two and two together. I could connect some dots here. And I'm now looking at this out in the open, agricultural, industrial swindlings that are taking place, starting way back when migrants were being deported, all the way up till now, where migrants are being bussed back. So, and again, I'm not a journalist. I'm just a guy doing this on his lunch break, showing you what I see on my lunch break. So, don't worry too much about it. Just keep an eye out on the issue. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend, because the profits that our politicians are going to be making, they're going to be enjoying their weekends very soon. They're going to be enjoying their vacations very soon. I mean, by the end of the harvest, by the end of this year's harvest, because remember, these people don't work a full year. They work like about 6 months. They only work 6 months out of the year. 192 days. That's 6 months and a couple of days change. 33 weeks out of the year. 45 hours out of a 5-day work week. In a 5-day work week. And it's a $132 billion industry. So our politicians are going to be banking big, just no differently than the agricultural industries. As soon as I can find out who they are, they're banking big, and they're paying their politicians real well too. My Governor Greg Abbott is 100% vile proof of that. If I could connect this bus scheme with the border inspection stations, I more than likely, I more than likely can. But I'm almost positive that there's something in connection with that as well. I don't know if I got the notations or not, but I distinctly remember 24 million, I think $24 million per hour that crosses the border by truck through the trucking industry, which is profitable for up to 66,000 trucks companies, involving just under 400,000 employees. Yeah, here we go. $24 million of trade crosses the Tex-Mexican border per hour. That's over 66,000 trucking companies, involving just under 400,000 employees. Okay, the trucking industry alone is a $615 billion a year business. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, $600 billion a year business. And Texas I think Texas is 350 billion. Texas alone is 350 billion. Okay. And it benefits 2,800 plus stakeholders who profit out of this 1.6 trillion dollars out of the year. Okay, so they're banking, they're banking big. What Abbott does with this garbage of putting these inspection stations out there, who again, like I said back when I was covering this, Beto dropped the ball, and Beto O'Rourke is a mayor who's running for governor. You'll have to go through that one. And the Greg Abbott's border inspection causing damage. Yeah, I mean he put state troopers and actual law enforcement to check tire gauges and fluids in every truck that stopped for inspection. They didn't even examine the cargo, which is something that U.S. Customs and Border Protection did. So yeah, I mean, he put a huge dent into our economy, not just Texas, but our nation's economy, you know, concerning $24 million per hour. That's how much trade comes through the border. Okay, so now we're finding out that the buses, more than likely through charitable donations and our tax-paying dollars, he sent at least 10 buses, you know, and fed them and everything, but didn't exactly say how much it was costing us. But I got a pretty good feeling his mind has a very good weights and balance kind of feel. Forget what this stuff costs, because forget telling the public what this stuff costs, because I'm getting paid for transporting these illegal undocumented workers to these 3 different states, Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina, and more than likely collecting some of our own here in Texas. You know, he's getting paid. He's getting paid. It's more than likely direct, you know, hand to pocket, you know, money. This is a scheme that's going on. He's not trying to drop immigrants on Biden's lap to teach him a lesson. You know, those people were on their way to DC anyway. The 2 buses concerning 24 people each bus. You know, 2 dozen people in a bus and all that. But his administration is saying that they've dropped off at least 10 buses at the nation's capital, which I seriously doubt. Only two have been recorded, but they say 10. Also, the New York Times reports this week buses are now dropping migrants off at Georgia, Alabama, and North Carolina. So 10 buses may have left Texas, but it's very, very, very clear that that 10 buses, you know, didn't actually make it all the way to DC. And for him to bring this kind of harm, economic harm at the border, while busing migrants to other states, you know, migrant farmers, you know, migrant workers that are going to be put into farmland, farming through, you know, agricultural products being crossing the border, being halted at the border, having all this food being ruined because of these secondary inspections, you know. So where are we going to get our food? How are we going to fill our shelves? Well, if we just stay with a strong economy and all this stuff, just keep buying American and all this stuff, everything will prevail and all this good stuff. But what nobody's noticing, and here's the thing, will we even want to notice? You know, is anybody going to even bother to try to notice that anything that is restored now is off of schemes like this bus scheme that my own Texas governor is doing by sending migrants Migrants that are supposed to be in asylums waiting to be vetted in, like the ones that are in DC now, who've been in our asylums here in facilities since as far back as 2020. Okay? 2 years went by. Of course they're going to go to DC to get picked up by their relatives, to get sworn in. Of course they're going to get vetted in. They're going to get sworn in. They sat here in our damn, what was as far back as 2020. During the last Trump administration, when he was trying to send everybody back home, telling everybody stop, nobody cross, and all of that, and none of this, and none of that. So, migrant workers now either come in sworn in or being bussed by my Texas governor, Greg Abbott, while at the same time doing damage at the border's economy, slowing down $24 million worth of trade every hour, just through Texas alone. You see the scheme, right? You see what's going on, right? This is a story to share, or just to keep in the back of mind once you're recuperating from partying tonight or partying tomorrow night. Just remember this, okay? And while you're at it, keep an eye out on it. See if you can connect the dots just as easily as I can. I'm pretty sure you're going to do it better than me. I'm only connecting the dots every now and then as I read these things on the newspaper, on the internet. And I'm doing this while, I'm reading them while trying to provide something the next day in my lunch hour. It's already going to be time for me to get back to work. And, sharing this with you. Common sense on common ground. Biden is soft, he's weak. Well, he might be. But I don't care if he's weak. What I care about is the swindling that's going on underneath his nose. Especially by the ones who are calling him weak. Especially the ones that say, no, he's not a patriot. Really? But busing illegal migrants to farmlands to make up for the stuff while economically damaging our agricultural business at the same time. How in the name of God is that patriotic? And that doesn't really make you strong. It makes you a greedy bastard. But that's not something to appreciate, So yeah, I mean, I just seriously wish, I could connect more dots for you. And I hope that you all I hope and I wish that you all do a better job at it than I do. Whoever it is that's paying attention to this and doing his own connecting, his or her own connecting, I hope you're better at it than me. I hope you do a better job, and I hope you maintain, and I hope you, get that word across, because, I'm just a driver. I'm just one little driver. That's it. I'm going to be ignored the rest of the day, the rest of the week. I'm ignored by the people that get out of my car once they're done. Like, hey, thanks for the ride. You were great. And then they just go back to their lives. So, y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. Glad that you heard me out this entire hour. We'll catch you later. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.